Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Perspective. My name is Ethan, and your hosts for the evening are Genevieve and BrainBug. How you guys doing?
Doing great, Ethan. Excited to be back again. I keep missing Dr. Ben, but I guess you make up for it by putting me on here with Genevieve because Genevieve.
Yes, Genevieve is an awesome co-host.
Thank you.
And for those that don't know, Genevieve hosts a show with Dave Warnock every Monday at 6 p.m. Central. It's called That GD Show.
Yes, and we have the best producer in the world, not going to lie.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I produced the show. Links for Genevieve and BrainBug are in the description of the video, but we've got like 6 calls in the queue, so we got to hurry up and jump right in. Are you guys ready?
Yes, I'm so excited.
All right, I'm going to bring on your first caller, and I'm going to get out of here. Russell, you are on with BrainBug and Genevieve. How you doing?
Oh, for me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing
Hi,
great.
Russell. Yep, I'm BrainBug. This is Genevieve, and we're looking at your the Amazon article for your book, the description, and very excited to talk to you about some of the stuff that you're going to go over here. So you have a Bigfoot belief that's kind of metaphysical, is that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that they were metaphysical at first. And by the way, I started out, I searched for 4 years and found nothing. So I was just about to give up when all of a sudden they started to show up everywhere.
Oh.
And so that in itself made me a little suspicious, because no evidence. And then all of a sudden they're everywhere.
Well, what kind of evidence were they leaving? Did you say no evidence? No evidence.
They've left me gifts. The first gift they left me was a pretty good size, maybe 2 fist sized heart-shaped yellow crystal that they left right in the middle of the trail. They knew I was coming. So that was the first one. Although that may not have been the first one, because I did find decades ago, I found an artifact that washed out of an embankment. And on that artifact was carved a flying saucer with 2 planets, glowing figure, a couple faces, moose, sleeping wolf. Some people call it a story stone. And I've also heard it called a shaman stone, which is what I kind of think it is.
How big is your shaman stone? Just so we can get an idea of what it looks like in our minds.
Okay, it's a crystal inside of an agate, which is pretty unusual. And the agate part is shaped like a ghostly form, like if you threw a sheet over somebody. And then they've got these rays that they carved out around that form. So to me, it's a glowing form. So it fits inside the palm of my hand, and it actually has a slot for the finger. And it's meant to be held in the right hand. So I figure, the shaman was right-handed, or whoever carved it. And it's hard to say how old it is because we don't have moose around here anymore. But there was also a whale and perhaps a jellyfish or something like that also carved on it. So I'm thinking it's possible that it's thousands of years old. I know that it probably would.
Have you had an archaeologist, or have you had an archaeologist or anyone look at it? Took it to a museum, maybe?
Yeah. No. And the thing is the reason for that is I know it was meant for me, after all this other stuff that happened. And also it's a very powerful tool. The first time I meditated with it, something jumped out of it and knocked over a piece of furniture. So
something jumped out of the stone?
Yeah. Some sort of shadowy form.
Okay. But physical,
I had my eyes closed at the time. So I didn't really see it except in my third eye.
Oh, so your eyes were closed and you kind of just sensed or you say with your third eye. That's a whole different route that we could take our conversation down. But let's focus out here in where things are interacting with the real world, where we can kind of look at how they interact with things and maybe what evidence there might be of that interaction. Sure. Yeah. And it's just that it's things we can't verify what happens in your mind's eye and whatnot. We can't. There's no way for us to test that. But
For sure.
These other things,
I understand that.
like Bigfoot and UFOs, and I think did I see something in the book review here about portals, like interdimensional portals? Maybe is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's essentially I've been guided to this kind of information. They wanted me to study vortex fields and magnetism, and it's all leading to portals. A few years back, after reading a book called The Golden Vortex, which is essentially about vortex fields by Nick Nelson, I'm driving down a country road and I see a bear, and it crosses in front of me. So I brake, I don't want to hit the bear, and it leaps as if it's going to leap onto the embankment on the other side of the road. Well, actually on my side of the road, but anyway, it leaped and then just disappeared through an invisible door. It just disappeared. I don't know how they arranged that. I stopped right where it disappeared, and I looked, and I couldn't see any sign of a portal at all. But it definitely was there, and I wasn't going to get out of my car and check it out. So that's one incident of a portal, and that happened right on a regional demarcation line for a regional vortex field that Nick Nelson had charted in his book. And I got home and I looked in his book, and sure enough, it was right there. And I thought, wow. So they wanted me to pay attention to that. That's kind of how they get me messages.
So are you talking about like ley lines, kind of, where they're points where, because you're talking about mapping it out and everything? Okay. And you said it's Nick Nelson, the Golden Vortex.
Yeah, that's the name of the book, and it's just a brilliant book. I've read it 3 times. It's kind of my Bible when it comes to vortex fields, because he studied magnetism from the time he was a young guy. He was fascinated by magnets and learned a lot about magnets, more than possibly anybody.
So we think that these vortexes, these portals, are magnetic. Is that based on Nelson's book, or is that something you've come up with?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. It's kind of weird because a vortex, like my friend Joe Hauser owns the Montana Vortex and House of Mystery in Montana, just outside of Glacier National Park there a little bit. And he says that a vortex is basically like a magnet, yet magnets or even compasses don't react to it, which is kind of strange. But I got a theory on that. But yeah, I'm thinking that a portal is a magnet on end. There at the Montana Vortex, it's the negative end of the magnet sticking up out of, or sticking out of the ground, because it's circulating in a counterclockwise direction. And so that would indicate that it's the negative side.
So we can go there and experience this. And you said it's in Montana, near Glacier National Park. It's like a mystery, one of the mystery house kind of attractions.
Yeah, it's called Hungry Horse. It's called Hungry Horse, Montana, is the name of the little town.
What might we experience if we went to this location?
Well, one of the things that he demonstrates every day, which is just amazing, he has this 2x8 laying on the ground, and it's perfectly level. He's got a level right there if you want to check it. And people will stand on each end of that board, and one person will be smaller than the other, And if they switch places, their size changes. One time at the Oregon Vortex, I was there when they had a set of twins. And so it was really easy to see, the difference in the way that their whole body changed from one end of the board to the other. And it's just like only 10 feet long. But one end of the board, I think, is sitting on a demarcation line, which is kind of like a wave. You got a peak of the wave and the trough of the wave. And when the peak is above ground, then that's where you got a demarcation line. And that's where stuff happens.
The way, because your book, I mean, it notates, Sasquatch, of course, the shaman of the woods. Does the shaman of the woods travel through these portals? Is that the idea?
I think they do. I think they do. And what I mean by Sasquatch are the shaman, because they have.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, they have great metaphysical abilities. They can communicate and travel across dimensions. I presume. I don't know everything. A lot of this is just guesswork. But I've had one cloaked and run right by me and felt the pressure on my face change.
Cloaked?
So cloaked. Yeah, I couldn't see him. I could hear him. I could feel him.
So it was like invisible, like translucent.
Yeah, I was hiking. Right, I was hiking along a trail, and I felt this huge presence on my left coming really quick, and I thought it was an elk because I'd done that before, scared spooked elk, and deer, out of their beds right next to the trail. That's happened. And then we're both scared. But anyway, this thing came. He came from behind me, left behind my left shoulder, and ran right by me, and I could not see him.
Was it audible?
At all.
Was it something you could hear, like with your physical ears, or is this another?
Oh yeah, that's how I knew it was coming. I felt it, but I also heard it. And just expected to see an elk and didn't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hear something large moving up behind you, and you're hiking in that area where you've said you've spooked up elk and deer before. That'd be your first expectations, and you turn around and there's just kind of nothing there. Is that what?
Yeah, I didn't turn around because I knew he ran in front of me. He ran kind of diagonally in front of me from left rear to right front. And then I heard something snap in the woods right above me, or right ahead of me to the right. And then it was done. I stood there for like a minute thinking, well, maybe he'll move again or something, but nothing happened. So I just went about my hike.
So other than sounds, there was like no physical presence there. I mean, you couldn't, like, nothing, it wasn't interacting with the foliage or leaving footprints or anything like that.
Exactly. And that was what was weird, because he ran into some thick foliage is the way it seemed like to me, because it was very thick to the right and the front of me. But nothing moved. It was still as can be. I just heard that one crack, and that was it.
Okay. So are we thinking that, like, he became physical and stepped on a stick and then went back invisible or translucent, or I don't know how you would describe that, because he's
maybe
too,
there was a stick up there that he hit just before he entered another dimension or something. I don't know.
So you think they're going that when people see them, they go into these vortexes, and that's why you can't track them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right. That's my point. They have all kinds of tricks up their sleeve. I know people who have seen them disappear right in front of their eyes. So this is a thing. It's a very strange thing.
Well, I mean,
along with a lot of other things.
Go ahead, Genevieve.
No, I guess I wonder, before you jump to the clearly they're like traveling through dimensions and that's why they disappear, are there any other more practical or easier explanations for some of these things that you been experiencing. I have other things to say about the vortexes and whatnot, but I think I'd just really like to get an answer about that really quickly.
Well, I don't know how else to explain what happened. I have a lot of interaction with them, and so I'm kind of used to these lessons, I guess you could say. They've demonstrated all kinds of things. The Mandela effect was demonstrated to me one time.
Well,
and let's see some other things.
Let's so far the evidence, it's so we had you felt a presence run past you, and then you found some stuff that you felt was left for you on a trail. There are definitely more, like Genevieve was saying, more logical reasons, not necessarily connected to one another,
of course.
Yeah.
But for independent,
and I understand that.
I happening. Also, and not to derail, but when you first mentioned the heart-shaped crystal the size of 2 fists that you stumbled upon, I just picture that there's like, I bet there's some geologist who was planning like a beautiful proposal to his girlfriend that day, and you might have just like screwed the pooch for him. But I do want to say, because you said that you've read the Golden Vortex 3 times, and I know it's probably a little late now, but I want you to approach this with a lot of caution, because I looked into Nick Nelson and I went to his website and sort of saw what he was laying out about the evidence, and I even saw the pictures that you mentioned of the people with the boards and how they changed. But that's a really basic like tilt illusion. It's an optical illusion that you can demonstrate anywhere. What really concerns me though about Nick Nelson,
listen to me.
But really quickly, what concerns me is that Nick Nelson is selling really expensive like mini golden vortexes on his website. Like when I look at this, and when I look at what I understand about how these images aren't showing anything, or at least aren't showing anything that can't be easily and already is explained by basic optic illusions. It seems like he's sort of doing this to make money. I mean, I think that, it reminds me of, there was this big craze, I want to say maybe 20 years ago, about these magnetic bracelets that you could wear that would balance you. And there was, I think, like Shaquille O'Neal bought into this. There was like all of this hoopla, and they ended up getting sued to shit because magnets don't actually do anything to help you. You can't sell something and claim physical benefits.
They can, but those people don't know that magnets have different phases, and you can change those aspects on a magnet, and he figured that out, and that's in his book. He talks about those phony magnet pads that don't do any good for anybody.
So the other magnets that are for sale are phonies, but his are totally legit, and you should absolutely buy them.
Well, it depends on how you create the aspects of the magnet. It can do good, and it can do bad. It can create awful swelling in your body if it's not electromagnetic fields are powerful.
Have you bought any of Nick Nelson's merchandise? Just any of these things that he's selling?
Actually, no. I didn't even know he was selling that stuff. I'm just aware of his book, and I've read his book 3 times.
It's funny, when I go to his website, I don't see anything about his book. I see everything about testimonials, about how what you can buy on his website totally works. I mean, no offense, I haven't read his book, but just from my perspective, it seems really grifty.
So, do you think that you could sell mini vortexes, like that's something that could be done if Nick Nelson's saying that's what he's doing?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I have no idea what he's selling. Mini vortex. You can make a mini vortex. Just fill your sink with water and take the drain out and watch it go down the drain. You're creating a vortex.
Right, I mean, on his website, he's saying that. Oh gosh, what is this? Cured acid reflux and burping. general aches and pains when he put it on his body. This is a testimony from a guy named Greg who had said that the doctors said that he might not ever be able to walk again after he fell off a roof and fractured a vertebrae, but after applying a golden vortex over the break, he was walking in 3 months. Like that, I mean, I'm not a surgeon or a doctor, but I feel like if putting a mini golden vortex magnet that you can buy it right on Nick Nelson's website. If that actually cured broken spines, I mean, I think doctors would jump at this. I think that there's a lot of opportunities here for some of these claims to
Oh,
be
no.
proven
Doctors
effectively.
wouldn't jump on that. What, are you kidding me?
Oh, we're gonna,
I've had a lot of experience with talking to, like, for instance, Jeff Meldrum, who from Idaho State. He studies Sasquatch, and of course he's a complete reductionist. And I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people out here that are having very, very weird experiences, very strange experiences. And maybe scientists with, doctorates should listen instead of just poo-pooing everybody. So, I don't have I'm very, very skeptical of scientists when it comes to this kind of thing.
but if it's
Generally
demonstrable,
speaking, like just a few years ago, I was a reductionist. I was an atheist. Didn't believe any of this stuff. If you told me if I listened to this podcast 10 years ago, I would have been rolling my eyes. So, I can understand that.
So, but if it's demonstrable, if you can demonstrate that these golden vortex that they work, that you're able to heal people with them. We have testimonials from people.
That board is demonstrable. They have a position where you take a picture, and it's at a 90-degree angle from the board. The board is level, just like I said, and then you switch to people on the board, and you take another picture, and you can visibly see that one end of the board, people seem to grow, and on the other, they seem to shrink.
Yeah,
that's demonstrable.
Those are the images I was referring to. Those are easy tilt-induced illusions. It's pretty easy.
They're not tilted though. See, I just told you that the camera position it's very well placed. They got a pad there where you stand, and it's at a 90-degree angle from the board itself, and the board is level. So how else could you do it?
I do have these pictures.
How could they
here.
make the illusion?
If anybody else wants to take a look and let me know what you think, I have them. I'll put those in the comments. But
yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting claim, and this is again, you said in the what was the name of the place again where this board was? It's near Glacier Park. You said Glacier.
Oh well, there's actually several places. But yeah, that's Montana Vortex. There's an Oregon Vortex. There's 2 more in California. There's one in South Dakota.
Similar to that, like the board thing. I saw that something similar to that at a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. I think in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh,
yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a vortex there, but
I don't know if it's a vortex, but yeah, it's this is what I mean. The way they demonstrate it is definitely saying that it's an optical illusion. It's Ripley, so they try to find the science behind it.
Yeah, I saw something similar when I was growing up at it was the Exploratorium, which is a great museum in San Francisco, California, where they've got a lot of really fun things just like this. Which is sort of where I see this. I'm like, oh, that reminds me of something. Yes, I saw it.
I think that's one of the vortex places, but I'm not sure. What's it called? Because there's one down there by the Bay Area. I know.
No, this is just a museum that's in the city. It used to be in the Palace of Fine Arts. Now it's on the pier. They've got the same demonstration, different place. It doesn't have to do with the location. It has everything to do with the perspective of the person viewing it, and how it relates to the surrounding areas.
Okay.
It's pretty fun stuff, but
Uh-huh.
I would recommend looking into it. I know we have a lot of calls on the line. Are there any last thoughts that you or BrainBug have?
Well, just this. There are stranger things in heaven and on earth than are dreamt of in your philosophies. Shakespeare. You guys have a great evening.
Oh, you too. Thank you for calling us tonight. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So how was your first Bigfoot call? How do you think it went?
You know, I think as soon as I found this guy's website, I sort of forgot all about Bigfoot and Sasquatch. It's like it seems like that was sort of like almost an afterthought. It's like, okay, I can believe that there's a giant furry animal that we haven't discovered, but as soon as we start talking about, oh, well, we just don't know him because he disappears in these different dimensions, like that's even more interesting than Sasquatch. I never thought that I would say that.
And then we end up at one of those somehow at one of those mystery houses or mystery spots or whatever.
Yeah.
Was a strange path that we went down, but we really couldn't pin it down because it kept moving back to these different little examples when we were asking for more details. Anyway, I think who do we have next? We have Dr. Robert on the line, I believe. Let me see. All right. And Dr. Robert has some UFO claims or UAP. Dr. Robert, you're on with BrainBug and Genevieve. How you doing tonight?
Wonderful. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm calling you from Los Angeles.
Well, we're glad to have your call tonight. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experience with us. So it says in your call here that you're calling about UAPs and UFO drones. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Briefly, you're going to find all this super amazing and super impossible. But for the last 4 years exactly, there have been numerous small drones, UAP, UFO drones, flying in Marina del Rey. There are 5 government agencies chasing it. They cannot catch it. It is uncatchable. And I have documented everything. I have over 1,000 videos to prove it.
1,000 videos. Okay. Goodness. Did we have any of the videos, Ethan? I don't know if we got any of those. If not, you can just if you want to send those, send them on over to Ethan, and we'll get them up on the screen here for you if you got a really compelling one to share with us. But what are we seeing on these videos since we don't have one right now to look at?
Okay. Shoot, I have my if you can give me a link or something, I have my video guy here. But what you're looking at, these are small UAP drones. They're about 10 inches. I know that because it flew up to a telephone pole, so I was able to capture that image. And these drones are really all over the world, but for some reason, there are a lot of them in Marina del Rey, Los Angeles. And again, over 5 agencies are still chasing this drone. Those agencies, for instance, are the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Sheriff, and the police. And they're here. They've been here thousands of times in the last 4 years, and I've recorded a lot of it. These drones fly up to the helicopters, and they fly away the speed of a bullet. And I have put it on my YouTube channel. Can I give you the name of the YouTube channel?
Yeah. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Sure.
Okay. Yes. Custodian File, F-I-L-E. And that's what I record everything from my balcony. And basically, I wait for one of these agencies to fly in to look for this drone. Mm-hmm. And I record the helicopter. And 80% of the time, the drone will fly by the helicopter. And I call that a tag. When it flies by, I say the helicopter got tagged. They're invisible to the human eye. There's no sound barrier. And they're traveling at an impossible speed of 1,700 miles an hour.
Who's
Again, I've
measuring the
documented this
speed on
all
that? Where'd that measurement come from for the speed on that? Is that from the military or?
Great question. I've calculated it. I'm a retired pharmacist, so I have a heavy science background. But after thousands of videos, it comes down to reference points. It was here. Basically, I have really one great video where it was at the beginning of Marina Del Rey, and it traveled 6,000 feet in 2 seconds. And then I've confirmed that video from somebody else's channel who just got a lucky video also. So now I have 2 videos to confirm its speed. And I know that's an impossible speed, and I wouldn't call to tell an impossible story. It's anyone can come to Marina Del Rey and record this, or if you know one of these helicopter pilots, and the odds are somebody knows a pilot, you can talk to the pilot and get the story that way. But this is current. It hasn't gone away. It's still going on every day.
So I got some of your videos pulled up here and kind of looking at them. Is it the thing that streaks across the screen? Is that what we're looking at?
Yes, that is the drone, the UAP drone. What was it? Last Saturday we had that tsunami, and for some reason, these drones went into hyperactivity. I've never seen them so hyper, and they were all over the sky. The police flew in, and they were all over the police helicopter. It was a ridiculous video day, and I posted some of that video, and you'll see 2 or 3 drones flying, actually with 2 birds and the helicopter. So these drones are not birds or bugs.
Okay, and I'm just giving my opinion. They definitely look like bugs to me, crawling across there, but are flying closer to the camera, within maybe a couple of feet of the camera is what it looks like to me. On this one I got pulled up here, the November 15th, 2021 one with the helicopter. That's what we're looking at right now on the screen. And to me, what it looked like was a flying insect somewhere within 5 to 10 feet of the camera, zooming across there. What reason are we believing that that's not what we're looking at?
Well, these objects only fly when there are helicopters in the air, and that's why the police are there. The police are looking for this drone. That is exactly why they're there. They're not on a patrol. I live right next to the beach, and the police, they're not looking for a bank robber at the beach. They show up every day and they circle the same location in Marina Del Rey because for some reason at the beginning of the channel where the marina is, these drones like to fly a lot. And the police helicopter, they have these flare cameras. They can see heat objects. And that's what they're seeing. They're seeing images. They look like tracer bullets at night. That's how fast they fly by their camera. So they don't see what you're seeing on YouTube right now. They see these white streaks like tracer bullets.
Well, I know that people... Sorry, I know that people are definitely flying drones around there. There's a few channels that I follow where the people just, that's all they do is fly drones over the coast out there and show videos of the sharks and the dolphins and things like that. They share them on YouTube. So there are definitely people flying drones around out in that area. But whether this video shows a drone, it doesn't look like any drone that I would doesn't look like anything I would call a drone on first. It looks like an insect to me. I mean, just doubling down on that a little bit here because I really don't see any reason to believe what we're seeing in these videos at least is anything but an insect.
Yeah, I can appreciate that because at first I thought they were insects and I called them dragonflies because I said this has just got to be a bug. This just has to be. But I went out and I got a better camera and again, these things only fly by when helicopters fly by. So we've had the Army, we've had Ospreys, Black Hawks, Apaches, the Sheriff, the Coast Guard fly in circles constantly for the last 4 years, chasing this drone, and they're not catching it.
And
It's
so the
uncaught
police
at this
reports
point.
are talking about that they're chasing a drone. Like if you look in the police reports, that's what it says.
Well, they're here looking for the drone, but they're not telling the public anything.
Oh, they're not
Zero.
releasing any information. Sorry, Genevieve, you had something.
Zero.
No.
No, I guess because if I understand correctly, there's like a military base really close by. Like the Navy has ships off the coast. Because when I look into this, from what I've seen, you know, because obviously everybody is really excited about UFOs because the Pentagon released that footage, and they're sort of taking what we would say UFO seriously. But I would say that when we say UFO, the entire idea is that it's an unidentified flying object. I think the leading theory for any ships or helicopters in that area being swarmed by things is that potentially it's a trick of our eyes, or it could be a foreign government that is also spying, because that happens all the time. I think that I have no problem granting you the fact that there may be some weird things going on with drones following helicopters or what have you. My big hang up would be, are you saying that this is from out of this world, or this is not human technology, or that this is not something that could be explained in one of those two ways? I'm also
fantastic question. Well, by the way, these drones, it's highly likely these are the same drones that were on the news 6 months ago when they were swarming the Navy ships. The Navy said these things are all around us. They're swarming. It got leaked out. Now, I do agree this could be a foreign government. In all fairness, we don't know. I am 100% certain that these things are here. Now, where they're from, your guess is as good as mine. Other than, I don't believe we have the technology that can create 1,700 miles an hour with no sonic boom.
So
I'm just saying 100% certain.
So just really quick, while you bring up 1,700 miles per hour, I'm not great at math, but I did the math, and I'm pretty sure that is like, oh gosh, I want to say like half a mile per second. I don't think that you could even genuinely see something going quite that fast. By the time you blink your eye, it's a mile down the coast.
100% correct. They are invisible to the human eye. Invisible. You are correct on your calculation.
That's not invisible. If it were invisible, then we wouldn't be talking about this, because it wouldn't have been detected by any of your cameras or any of the footage that you take from your balcony.
The frame rate wouldn't be fast enough to catch it.
I'm shooting at 60. I'm shooting at 60 frames, 4K. They are invisible to the human eye, not to the camera.
So,
yes.
The camera has what was the frame rate on that camera?
60.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you said that the object was moving at, I believe, 1,700. Was that like that?
1,700 miles per hour.
And the camera.
That's 2,500 feet. 2,500 feet a second.
And you're doing 60 frames per second on your camera.
Yes, I am.
So I'm just trying to just sort the math there to see if that would you expect it to show up? So someone's moving 1,700 miles an hour and you're recording at 60 frames a second. I don't know if we'd be able to see that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not an optometrist. I don't know what the eye or the camera should be able to see at that frame rate, but I from what I had something moving that speed, from what I understand, it should be, you wouldn't even have time to process it. The camera wouldn't have time to process it.
And another thing really quickly is that you said that you believe that we don't have the human technology to make something that goes that fast. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that is my belief. I do. And I've talked to a lot of.
I
yes,
guess
without a sonic boom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking it up, and the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird is the fastest jet aircraft in the world, and that goes 2,100 miles per hour. So it can be done. We make really fast things. I would not be surprised whatsoever if this is not a bug on your screen, which it actually, it totally does look like that. I don't think you're just saying that, BrainBug, because your brain's on bugs, but I think that if you really, really dig into it, there's a lot of logical explanations, and I think this is fascinating. I think that if you enjoy filming off of your balcony, keep on keeping on. I would just, instead of jumping to the conclusion that this is something that has no explanation, or that we can't account for it. I mean, you can just look into it, like a quick Google search on like how fast do we make things can sort of already sort of tamp down some of that disbelief, if you will. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I put about 8,000 hours of research in this, and I have thousands of videos of this with every agency that you can think of. Probably the easiest way, somebody knows one of these helicopter pilots. If you could call the pilot, you'll get it. You'll hear the answer directly.
I want to say before we close out, because we do have some other calls waiting, I do want to say that you are going about this the right way. If you're interested in learning about this stuff, you are doing exactly the right thing by researching, looking into it, and documenting different agencies that you see flying around. Excellent work. Keep us up to date on that. Let us know what you find, okay? Because we're really interested, and I will go through and look at more of your videos. I may actually feature some of your videos on my own show if I find one that tickles my fancy. So I'll let Ethan know if I decide to, so he can keep you posted, okay?
Thank you very much. Feel free to use the video. Feel free. It's open
Thank you
source.
so much. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. All right. Lost my headphone there for a second. Yeah. There was definitely, he's seeing something, he's experiencing something, he's trying to sort it out. He's is drawing some conclusions I don't necessarily think I would have drawn.
Yeah.
But at least he's continuing to do some research and try to figure out what's going on with it.
Yeah, and I guess I just hope I don't want to burst his bubble, because it sounds like he's put a lot of time, and it sounds like he's really, really invested in this. And I think that's why I think it's so important to keep an open mind and to be skeptical and to sort of check yourself. Because if you commit so deeply to a belief, not even necessarily talking about this caller, but even the first guy, Vortex guy, it's so heartbreaking to go your life being so sure about something, only to realize that maybe it's not the case at all.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you can correlate that with just about any realization that you have, but people experience that a lot coming out of religion, or getting away from a cult, not just and it can be as simple as a belief in the tooth fairy too, something simple as like you had a haunted house or whatever as a kid, to come to the conclusion that at some point that, hey, maybe that wasn't real, maybe that was my brain priming it to accept that these experiences are supernatural when they're really something mundane.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Lauren up next. Let me see here. Lauren has some Bigfoot stuff. You're getting all the Bigfoot calls. You know what it is? Dr. Ben said, to all these Bigfoot people last week, said, call back when BrainBug's here. And now Genevieve gets stuck dealing with the Bigfoot callers too, but I love them.
so
I hope
excited.
you enjoy them too. Lauren, you are on with BrainBug and Genevieve. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Doing great. Having a great time talking about, we just talked about UFOs and we had some vortexes and stuff before, but we understand that you have some Bigfoot stuff you'd like to talk about this evening.
Sure. I don't know where to start, but yeah, I've been a big fan of Bigfoot since I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I didn't really have any prior experience with Bigfoot, but you know, my mom and dad took me to go see Sasquatch in the movie theater. It was about 1977. So that was actually my first real introduction to Bigfoot. I had no idea what he was or what he was about.
Mine was Harry and the
as a kid
Hendersons.
growing up. Yours was Harry and the Hendersons?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been obsessed with it ever since. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what stuck with me watching that movie as a kid was the high-pitched howl that he gave out. I mean, that chilled me to my core when I first heard it in the theater, and you know, it scared me. I didn't know what it was about. I mean, I thought, you know, if we go camping, I was gonna run into a Bigfoot that I didn't know about before. You know, but I grew up watching a $6 Million Man as a kid, you know, and seeing bionic Bigfoot. So, you know, I had this fascination with Bigfoot all this time. And yeah, I didn't know if he was real or not at that point. I really didn't care. I still don't care. I want to believe in Bigfoot. So, you know, like I said, there was, you know, not much technology back then. You know, so we get these little blurry photographs or maybe a casting of a Bigfoot print,
Yeah.
You know, back then, but that was about all we got, you know. So now with the technology that we have, hidden cameras and cell phones and stuff like that,
Trail
everything
cams.
is being recorded now. So it's a lot more compelling evidence.
Oh yeah. So
You know,
is
so
there
I
a
don't-
piece of evidence that you find particularly compelling?
Pardon?
Is there a piece of evidence that you find particularly compelling?
I like to watch the show called Paranormal Caught on Camera. So there's usually videos about Sasquatch every week, you know, that somebody sends in. I mean, it's really compelling evidence that, you know, he actually exists. But, you know, I really enjoy the mystery of it, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what he is and where he come from and, you know, why you don't see, you know, a Bigfoot body in the woods or something like that, you know, had died.
Yeah.
You know, or bones or something like that. You
There's
know,
a
and
lot
I've
of
heard a couple
questions.
theories over. Pardon?
There are a lot of questions about the pedigree of what a Sasquatch would be. Got any personal theories on that? You said yeah.
I've heard somebody say that they believe that Bigfoot isn't necessarily Bigfoot, that he is basically a ghost from, you know, the caveman era, you know, still hanging around. And I don't think I buy into that one. That one's kind of a too far fetched for me.
Well,
but I actually heard this story just, you know, within this past year that I never really thought much about, that, you know, some say that he can actually travel between dimensions. And, you know, I probably buy into that one a lot more than I do anything else. You know, and I live on the Oregon coast, so there's a lot of dense wooded area around. And, you know, I've heard a lot of stories in my area of sightings, you know, very, very close to me, you know, just on the bridge leaving my town to go to another town. You know, I've heard somebody say that, you know, they have actually seen a adult Sasquatch with a juvenile walking alongside the road. You know, so living over here on the Oregon coast, I've only been living over there for about 2 years now. You know, so I have these hopes of seeing something one of these days.
You haven't seen anything yet?
Who's to say? I have not seen anything yet, unfortunately. So, you know, I am on the lookout every time I drive through there.
Are you in city limits? Are you out in the rural area?
I'm in city limits, but I have a lot of space in between there, in between each town that I travel through.
Yeah.
Like I
So you
said,
spend
there's
a lot of time passing through. Yeah. Spend a lot of time passing through rural areas though. And never had any
and I know that
experiences, never heard a sound in the night or anything.
Not any sounds, no, but there's a town just on the other side of our bridge called Gardner, and there's an old cemetery, but the town itself is very small, very, very old, right there on the coast. And there's a cemetery that a lot of my family is actually buried at the cemetery, but there's a wooded area just on the other side of that cemetery, and I've heard people say that they've heard Sasquatch noises coming through, from them woods, but I'm also a paranormal investigator. So, it's something that I would like to, hopefully have an experience one of these days. But
so, no, if you haven't had a Bigfoot experience, but you're a paranormal investigator, have you had any paranormal experiences?
I've had a lot of paranormal experiences.
Oh, yeah. Is
So
any of them
I
that you think would be compelling to us?
I have photograph evidence. I've got, stories to tell from, various investigations that I've done in, a couple different states. So I do a lot of community theater. So the building that we use as our theater is well over 100 years old, so that's one of my favorite places to investigate whenever I get a chance. And, I've got a lot of stories to tell about that place. So.
Oh, well, yeah, I say we talk about those kind of experiences too. So yeah, if you want to gather up some of those for us and give us a call sometime, and we can kind of go over those experiences too, because we love ghost experiences. We love Bigfoot's great too, and Sasquatch. But that's a personal favorite of mine. UFOs, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you have experiences, if anybody out there just to get up on my soapbox for a minute, anybody out there in the live chat, anybody out there listening at home, if you have an experience like with ghost or with Bigfoot or UFOs, yeah, we got a number that's running down below us here. You can give that a call, and I think we still have a few spots open. We had quite a few calls at the beginning, but yeah, we do have a couple spots open if anybody wants to call in. But yes, Lauren, this has been fascinating to kind of pick your brain about Bigfoot and Bigfoot sightings in your area. Yeah, if you have anything, any last experience or anecdotal experience from somebody who's experienced Bigfoot, you want to go ahead and share that with us?
Not right off the top of my head, no. But I do appreciate the time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren. Thank you so much for calling in today.
You're very welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Now, why is it that I could have sworn that you were about to say, if anybody out there in this dimension or the next would like to call in with a claim, please do so.
If we could get a call from someone from another dimension,
right?
I'm totally for it. Or somebody who's a time traveler, someone who's a werewolf. I've been dying for a werewolf call. Or a skinwalker. I'm not picky. Somebody who changes.
Yeah.
I do want to, while we got a quick break between calls here, I want to thank you, Cynthia McDonald, for your super chat earlier. We are doing our best up here and having a good time doing it, talking to some great callers about some wild claims. So let's retally here. We've had vortexes, we've had UFOs. Now we've had some Bigfoot. We actually had a double dose of Bigfoot because our vortex guy had some Bigfoot in there too. What else do we have on the docket today? Let's see here. We have, let's see. We have Richard, or T. Richard, from the Netherlands, had a UFO experience with his wife, took photos of it, and had photos implanted on his camera. Let's definitely dive into this. Richard, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hello. You're
Yes.
on with BrainBug and Genevieve, and we are excited to hear about your UFOs.
Okay, fine.
All right. So you had some UFO photos. Is that right?
Not only that, but they also put photos on my cameras from exoplanets. So it's quite a story I have to tell.
Okay. Maybe are you Richard with the exoplanet blog post that Ethan shared with me earlier?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I shared it on many Facebook pages. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're in the Netherlands, is that right? Or you were on holiday
Right,
in the
I am.
Netherlands in 2017 and you had these experiences. All right. Let's break it
Right,
down.
5 years ago.
Yeah, we have. Hold on, I'm gonna pop your pictures up here so our audience can see what we're looking at. Just a second here. There we
Yeah.
are. I got your blog pulled up here. So, Ethan,
Right.
if you want to pop that up on the screen for us. There we go. So this is the first photo. It's the one looking out over the water, and there's the docks. A single flag on the left side, and there's some lights in the distance on the it looks like on the distant shore.
Yeah, I call this the moon behind the clouds because it was very cloudy, but the moon was there behind the clouds.
Yes,
and that's important to know because the other pictures I show you, they don't have any clouds in it. So that's something important.
So we're awful low to the water in this image. I'm just
yeah.
Just wanted to look a little closer here. It's I didn't mean to turn the lights on. It's to me, it's something definitely is there. It's definitely a physical object that's reflecting on the water. So it's not like a lens flare in this first picture. It does seem to be something with lights on the far side of the water, down at the level where you'd maybe expect human stuff to be. So like boats or cars or anything. What's on the other side of this lake?
No, just see the opposite side, and it can be anything, but there's nothing really important going on there, I think. The important thing is that I had my camera on 15 seconds exposure time because I had this new camera. I wanted to make pictures with long exposure times, and the longest was 15 seconds on this camera. Mm-hmm. And all the pictures I made were with 15 seconds exposure times. But the pictures they put on my camera, they have different exposure times, so that's quite important to know. But you see it also on the water because there are no waves on the water. Normally you should see some waves on the water.
But it's very still in this image.
Exposure time is quite flat.
All right. So, what it is the object on the far side of the water that we're looking at in this image? Am I right about that? That's what we're paying attention to. And you're saying this was taken with this long exposure time. I did read in your blog here that you said that you do 15-second exposures. So, like you just said, you do these for 15 seconds. Yeah. When we do a long exposure, if there's something with a light on it moving out there, we would expect it to leave a little trail behind it, like little tracers of light behind it.
Sure.
And the way it's reflecting off the water really makes me feel like it's something on the far shore in this picture. It could be anything at this distance. It's hard to tell because you zoom in on that, you're not going to get any clearer. You're just going to get closer. Just because the distance and where the camera's focusing at. Now there's some other images here looking, I guess, off more. It looks like anyway more to the right of what the first picture was taken. And this one, there's some boats at the docks, and there's some flagpoles, and you have focused in on an area between the flagpoles where there is a little triangle of lights. Is that what we're focusing on in this one? I know you can't see it, but
before that, we saw blue light turning into a red light, and I made a animation of that, and also looked through a telescope, or how you call it. I saw that it was a blue bar floating above the water and turning into a red bar, and that's what I did. So I made this animation about it, and you can on my site you can see this animation.
Floating over the water. Okay.
Yeah, and the photo you saw there shows that the blue and the red bar were turned into three white lights, and behind these lights you could see a golden-like saucer.
A saucer?
Quite, yeah. It looks like a saucer.
Now, this is what you saw with your binoculars?
Sorry?
This is what you saw with your binoculars?
No. That was after the binocular. So after the binocular, I made this picture, and I saw this three white lights pointing at us, and behind these lights were a golden saucer-shaped object.
That's the picture between the flagpoles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 5 minutes later, I made the same picture of this location, and there were the blue and red bars again. You can see that clearly. Although it was a bit moved, the picture was a bit moved because we shook the table. But the most important thing is that the things what happening was that next day I got pictures on my camera which I did not make. It was a picture of an exoplanet. Maybe you can show that.
Yeah, I saw those further down in the. Yeah, in the images here, there was a single image that you said you didn't know how it got on your camera. Looks like it's kind of pointed into a black field, so it could be pointed up in the sky, could be pointed off into any direction really, and that there's a point of light on there that's round. I think we're looking at some what they call bokeh. It's a photography thing where you have lights that are in the background that points a light where you have it focused so that they're kind of a round sphere looking orb in the background. So I think, is that what we're looking at? You're saying that it's an exoplanet?
No, on my exoplanet picture, it's clearly a 3D object with shadows, and it has a green halo around it. It has a green.
Pop it up again, there, Ethan. Pop the picture up again so the audience can see. Okay, so that's the zoomed in. This is the original picture, and here's zoomed in. That's his. That's the object we're talking about here. He's said it's clearly 3D. Now, to me, this looks like bokeh, which again is a unfocused lens to make the light kind of appear larger and round. Kind of gives it some depth even.
The important thing is I did not make this picture. It just appeared on my camera. And another thing is that you see clearly a green halo above it and below it. So that means if you know about the Earth's field, green is the color for oxygen. So if you have a green halo, it means oxygen. So there's clearly an exoplanet with with oxygen in the atmosphere because of the green halo around it, above and below.
At this point, I do want to talk about your camera a little bit, just to kind of learn a little bit about the equipment that you're using. What type of camera were these taken with?
This was with a Canon.
A Canon
camera, simple camera. Yeah, Canon. Right. Yeah.
Do you know what do you got the ISO settings or anything on there?
Sorry?
Do you know anything about what the ISO was set at when this was taken?
Well, my camera was always on 15 seconds exposure time, but these pictures they put on the camera were all having a different exposure time, lower than 15 seconds I put it on.
Yeah, but sorry to take it back. I just wanted to know if you don't know what the ISO settings were, I'm not gonna come down on you about it or anything. I just wanted to know if we knew that information.
No, I don't know right now by head.
Okay.
No.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to check. Because that's going to make the difference on how points of light appear on camera, whether they're look a pinpoint of light or whether it looks like a three-dimensional kind of orb floating is all going to be based on how that ISO is set.
Yeah,
the color of that is going to be on your red, green, and blue, because your camera is going to have the green filter is going to be just as much is the red and blue together. So that's you kind of get a green ring around things when you're when you first go blurry, but when you're pulling out and adjusting the lighting. Anyway, Genevieve, I keep cutting you off.
No, no. I guess I'm so glad that you're here because you know far more about cameras than I do. But when I look at the first picture you have of this alleged exoplanet compared to the one that is zoomed in, it says on your blog that you zoomed in and enhanced, and I guess I was just wondering specifically like what settings did you use to enhance this image? Because I just know from my personal layman's experience of adjusting photos, there are so many times when I try to adjust a picture for more clarity so I can make something out, but that's actually not really how it works, and it ends up just looking kind of totally different than what it did in the original anyway. Without making very many adjustments at all. And also I will say that like there's plenty of times when I've like accidentally taken a picture on my camera and I didn't even realize it until much later. I was even actually just looking, not to set it bounce around a lot, but looking at I think it was the last picture that showed up on your camera. You said you had no idea what it is, but it reminds me so much of the lights that I see in that very first very first picture on your blog too. I could easily see that being one of those accidental.
Yeah, but as I told you, I did not make these pictures. They were put on my camera. They appeared the next morning when I looked at my camera. At the time when they were put there.
That is very bizarre. What do you think happened? How do you think they got there?
What I think happened really is that there were UFOs available at that time. And some of them they were on the pictures I took. So this picture I did not took. And they put these pictures on my camera. So it's a simple transformation, or how you call it. They put they appeared on my camera because of they transferred it to my camera. Because, as I said, the night was clouded, so I could not make these pictures anyway.
Oh no,
I could not, because
just
I did
to be
not.
clear, we're not accusing you of faking the pictures or anything or making them.
No.
Yeah, just that I know I can't count how many times I've actually snapped a picture and didn't even realize that I took it till I was looking through my reel and I was like, hey, where'd this one come from? So just keeping that in mind, of course. Now, there's other ways that you can get that effect with the pinpoints of light like that, other than getting the sky out of focus. It could be even within a dark room with something like a RC charger or whatever with the little infrared light on it. Catching that on the camera with it out of focus is going to give you that that kind of rounded
Mm.
planet, like looks like a planet image. So where did you put your camera in a case overnight, and then you took it out of the case and it had these images on there?
No, but as you see in my article, the last picture that
Mhm.
was appearing on my camera, the camera was lying inside the house because the weather was very bad, and it shows something which, I don't understand still, and they put it on my camera, so it's just transferred there. So some of the pictures I made myself, and some of the pictures made by the aliens. And I have on my website, you can see which of the pictures are made by me, and which of the pictures were made by them.
Yeah, you're clear about that. I appreciate that when you put these up, and I do appreciate your investigation too, and kind of doing some different stuff to kind of show what you're demonstrating. You did the 3 points of light to kind of show what you want us to focus on in that image. Appreciate that. It makes it much easier for me to dive into these. As for what they all are, I have opinions on that. Of course, I've been vocal about it this call. I hope you appreciate my credulity on the matter and kind of wanting to investigate and go over some more mundane explanations that we might be experiencing. But and I appreciate your perspective as well, and that it that it may be aliens. So I mean, definitely respect that you are willing to investigate this, just like the last person. Really appreciate the work you're putting in here, because it is fun to look into this stuff. Genevieve?
Yeah, I guess if I just have one final thought is that if you genuinely believe that you found an exoplanet with oxygen, I would highly recommend contacting some astrobiologists, because they literally dedicate their entire field of study to finding habitable planets and life outside of this Earth. So, I mean, I know they're scanning the sky 24/7 with much better cameras and and telescopes than yours. But if you did find something, they would be very, very interested. So please contact your local astrobiologist. I'm sure they would be very interested if you indeed found a planet that was unknown to us before that has an oxygen atmosphere. It'd be really cool.
It'd be an amazing find.
Yeah, you would change the world. Or another world, or this world too. You know what I mean.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts there? Oh, I think we lost him. That's all right, though. I had a good time talking with our friend there, and I appreciate his call in. And if you've got any more images that you wanted to talk about at any point, or you want to go into more depth on any of these in particular, give us a call back. Maybe with a different set of hosts, even, because we all like to engage and we all have different perspectives on it, and that's what we want to share with you. All right, and let's see. Moving on tonight, the next person we have waiting to talk is, you're not going to believe this, Genevieve. It is another Bigfoot call.
What?
All right, yes, you have attracted the Bigfooters tonight.
I'm so excited.
Mark, hello. You are on with BrainBug and Genevieve. And you believe in Bigfoot because you met him in person. I am freaking fascinated to find out about this.
A couple of times.
All right.
You guys have the patience of the gods, I'm telling you. I've been sitting here since quarter after when you started, and listening to everybody that's talking, and I just think you have a lot of patience.
Well, yeah, we talk to all kinds of people with all kinds of beliefs, and you gotta take your time and kind of break it down. You gotta maybe put yourself in that person's shoes and think, why do they believe this is true? But you meeting Bigfoot sounds like something that you should definitely be able to to demonstrate for us, or give us your great evidence for, because I'm sure you wouldn't have called us if you didn't have something fascinating to share. So go right ahead.
Well, I'm not no young guy. I'm in my 60s, and I've seen and heard so many different things in my life. It would just baffle your mind. But as far as, because I saw the thing that he put on asking why do you believe in Bigfoot, so that's why I called. And coming up on one face to face, waiting for you on the side of your porch when you get home from work is a pretty good one.
That actually sounds terrifying. Terrifying. Please elaborate, because it sounds like there's maybe a story here, maybe a little bit of backstory too, that you can kind of fill us in on. Your coming home from work.
Once upon a time, but this was in 1980, I worked on a dairy farm, and I worked from morning to night, and I went to work in the dark and came home in the dark. So I come home one night, and I lived in a bungalow away, about 5 miles away from the main road, and my closest neighbor was a mile away. So anything around me were fields and woods. When I come home, and I have a screened-in porch, walk into the screen door. I get to the middle of the porch. I already had the key to the door in my hand because I couldn't see to get it out of my pocket and fumble around with the keys. And I got halfway through the porch, and I heard something really big get up off the ground. And being when you work on a farm and you listen to a cow get up off the ground, it makes a specific noise when you hear something that big get up. And I just stopped dead in my tracks and just stood there for a second listening. And I could hear it breathing. The only problem was the breathing was coming from the very top of the screen, which was 8 feet high. So as I stood there, it didn't move. It just stood there and watched me. Being it was pitch dark, I didn't have any lights on. I couldn't see. So I stood there and listened for a minute. I tried to think, what could that be? It just stood up. And as I listened to it breathe, I realized that it's got to be Bigfoot, because what else is going to stand tall enough to reach the top of the screen? So hair went up on the back of my neck. I ran for the door. Key went right in the hole. I couldn't believe it. Ran in, shut the door, turned the kitchen light on, and stood there for a minute thinking to myself, oh my God, I have to see it. Nobody's going to believe me. I have to run out here and see it. So I grabbed the butcher knife, the biggest butcher knife I could out of the butcher block, throw it on the porch light, which is on the inside of the screen. I run back out, slide about 3 feet into the middle of the porch, right in front of the screen where he was standing, and stopped and was looking right through the screen at him. But I couldn't get a good look. And he's still standing there, and he's watching me. And he's breathing. You could almost feel the breath coming through the screen on the top of my head. So I got really worried that if he's not leaving, he's probably going to reach in and grab me. So I repositioned my footing with the knife in my hand, because I'm thinking he's going to get stuck if he comes through. He turned and ran. He took off, and each step cleared so much ground. He moved so fast when he hit the wood line. All I could hear was limbs and trees and snaps and thumps, and where he kept on running until he was clean out of distance. As I stood there with the hair up on the back of my neck.
Wow.
That sounds like a terrifying experience. I'm glad you made it out okay.
For some reason, I never worried about him coming back.
I got a few questions about this experience.
All right.
What part of the? I'm guessing you're in North America, either U.S. or Canada, probably. Where are you located at? You don't have to give me exact details.
That was on the eastern shore of the state of Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh,
okay.
United States.
State. I didn't know we had Bigfoots in Maryland. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, there is so many here. It's unbelievable.
I do have a quick question. Was, if you say that you saw Bigfoot, what has the media misportrayed about him? Like, we all have this idea that, like, I when I think of Bigfoot, I have like an idea in my head what he looks like. Would he be offended by our portrayal? Does it look completely different than what you would expect based on the other renderings we've seen over the last few decades?
To my demise, I didn't get a really good look. Mostly just the shaping, because I was trying to see him through the screen. So I didn't get any clear look. And of course, I didn't have a camera at the time or anything. But
you mean back in the 80s, people didn't carry cameras all the time?
What's that?
So do you mean back in the 80s, people didn't carry cameras with them all the time?
Not like they do now.
Yeah.
There wasn't no cell phones or nothing like that.
We had a lot more Bigfoot pictures back then, though.
Yeah, well, I the way the media puts it out there, they just keep posting so much blurry stuff. I can't go for the blurry stuff, and I can't go for all the structures that they say. I'm an avid hunter. I spend 3/4 of the year in the forest, in the woods, and I see all these different things that they put on pictures on with bent over trees and stuff like that. They're not from Bigfoot. Bigfoot's not bending over these trees. So I don't know what these people are coming up with, because they never have any evidence that the Bigfoot did it. You know what I mean? There's no video evidence showing the Bigfoot bending over all these trees and making all these X's in the woods and all that. I'm in the woods all the time. I don't see that. I'm in the woods that the Bigfoot live in, and I don't see that.
But you think that it's an animal, am I right? Because we've had a couple of callers tonight. You're our third Bigfoot caller. We've had a pretty Bigfoot heavy episode.
Yeah.
But the last two people who talked about Bigfoot thought it was an interdimensional entity, maybe. But you think it's
I don't think it's interdimensional. If it had the ability to blink in and out and disappear and all that, I'm sure both times that I had encounters, that probably should have happened. So why would the Bigfoot run through the woods and knocking over logs and trees and everything if he had the ability just to blimp out?
That's like that guy was talking about. Oh, it didn't touch any of the foliage, but I heard a twig snap, and it's like, how I was thinking, how's that work? But at least I think your idea is more grounded. I'm glad that you're able to bring the discussion to an animal. So if you think, do you think it's an animal? Am I right? It's a big heavy animal. Okay,
and it breathes just like any other animal does.
Mm-hmm.
So now
you know what I mean. So I don't know if anybody's ever been close enough to listen to him breathe, but I have.
There have been reports of people having actual physical contact and actually getting kidnapped and stuff by Bigfoots. There's old stories about that. But do you think it's a primate, like a monkey, or I say monkey. When I say primate,
I don't think it's a monkey. I don't think it's a primate at all, because it has the same foot structure as a human, just pretty much.
Humans are primates too, so that's fair. We're great apes.
A monkey's big toe is actually like a big thumb.
Yeah,
so their feet are not the same at all.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
well, I mean, apes are monkeys, and then and then humans are apes. So
yeah, yeah.
But that's getting into animal classification. Do you think it's related to humans? I got you.
Well, I don't know how human it is, because nobody's put one on the table. Mm-hmm. But around where I live at, there has been so much going on around here that people have been threatened to be quiet, and it's just crazy.
In Maryland?
Yes.
To be quiet about Bigfoot, huh?
Maryland's not a very big state, but there's a lot going on over here.
That's for sure. I'd never heard of any sort of Bigfoot activity in Maryland, but I'm definitely curious to look into it, since you're talking about my backyard. I could definitely go out there and look into this. I guess what's curious to me though is that you are sure that this is Bigfoot, but you had your keys out because you couldn't see. You can't really give a description of what he looked like because it was too dark. You couldn't see. We also have bears, and we also have big humans that might want to break into your house, and you could have just scared somebody away at the right moment. I think that
brandishing a butcher knife would send me running through the forest.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I was trying to break into your house.
I was in my 20s at the time, and I was kind of fearless, but
yeah.
I don't know what I'd do if I walked up on him at that point. But the second experience, I was coming up the road in a car down a back road with my girlfriend, which is now my wife. There was 3 sets of eye shine along the fence line. Mm-hmm. And as I come up the road, I knew the farmer, and I was like, oh shoot, the guy's horses are getting out, because I could see the eye shine. So I stopped the car in the middle of the road and opened the door, got out, and walked around the backside of the car. and these three big eye shines came down the hill on the side and walked right out into the middle of the blacktop road. So they stood there behind me, and all I had for light was the taillights on the car. So it wasn't very bright shining out the backside of the car, but I could still see the eye shine. And I didn't hear any clippity clop from horse hooves on the blacktop. And I stood there for a minute thinking how weird that was. How is it that a horse don't make noise on blacktop? So then all three of them at the same time started walking towards my car. And as they got closer and closer, there was no footsteps. Like if you're in bare feet, you're not going to have any sound. As they came up closer, I'm realizing these three sets of eye shine are 8 feet off the ground. And as the silhouettes of their bodies started coming into view, I said, "Oh crap! They're not horses." I jumped in the car and hauled ass.
So, what did the silhouettes?
I wasn't taking a chance.
Like a traditional
What?
Bigfoot silhouette? Was it basically like Patterson
Yes,
Gimlin?
it was traditional Bigfoot silhouettes. I mean, they were huge. They were just standing shoulder to shoulder from each other and just started walking towards me. And as I could see the outline coming towards me, I'm like, "Oh, not a horse. They're not horses." And especially being that tall. I mean, a normal horse, their head is maybe 6-7 feet off the ground. These were higher. So,
And this is in Maryland too, right?
that was my second experience.
Okay.
What's that?
Yeah. And this was in Maryland as well?
Yes, it was. It was probably maybe 5 or 6 miles from where I was living, when the other one came by me by my porch.
Okay.
And it was probably almost a year later.
So, and we, and you think you agree that it'd be an animal. You think that what you saw was definitely a physical animal, nothing supernatural or
Big
alien
animal.
about it.
Big bipedal. And bipedal. So it wasn't like it was any other kind of animal there.
And it had eye shine. That's the peculiar thing that I always find about these Bigfoot sightings, because one of the distinctive characteristics of the great apes, the hominids, which we are part of the group, and presumably Bigfoot would be too, is that they don't have a how you say it, tapetum lucidum, the part of your eye that causes the reflection that creates eye shine when lights are shining on it. So humans lack that, and all the known apes lack that as well. So if Bigfoot was an ape, we wouldn't expect eye shine. So that's a really peculiar feature of the organism, if indeed it's an animal.
I get you.
So it really would be kind of a shakeup of our classification system and the way we understand how these features and physiological characteristics evolve in different clades, and how essentially, since our ancestors of all hominids lost this feature, the chances of developing again in a new lineage further down the road is very, very slim. Not impossible. Nothing, of course, is impossible, but not to be expected in what we find in new species of primates.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't understand, like the other guy said, where you don't find any dead ones in the woods, or you don't find any scat from them, and you know what I mean? All different kinds of stuff like that.
No roadkill.
I don't understand it, but I've walked right along and found the tracks. I belong to a Bigfoot research group here where I live at, and these guys go out, and I go out with them, and we've come across tracks and taken the plaster cast molds, and even as recently as this past turkey season here in Maryland, my cousin and his daughter went turkey hunting. And there's a big section of woods. It's 4,000 acres of state land. And the game warden met them on the dirt road and told them, be careful of the Bigfoots in these woods. Now this comes straight from the game warden's mouth. The game warden told them they had 3 different size tracks, so they knew there was 3 different size ones in the woods. So when my cousin came in and told me that, I said, "Yeah, well, I've already seen the footprints.
Well,
I hunt the same woods."
I tell you what, it sounds like you're doing Bigfoot research and stuff. You may have some great experiences and investigations that you could share with us on future calls. So we definitely we'd definitely love to have you call back. You've been a joy to talk to, Mark. You're open to suggestions of other explanations. I appreciate that, and we really do enjoy delving into these topics. Now we are running out of time here. We got one more caller in the queue, so I do want to let you know, Mark, we appreciate you, and let you get the last word in before we go on to the next call.
Well, that's all I got for you. I mean, I could talk your ear off on all the other things that's going on around here, but I'll save it for next time.
Yeah, give us a call back, because we love these conversations, and I totally steamrolled you again, Genevieve. I've been doing it all night.
I don't mind at all. It's I've never been on a show with you. It's just it's really nice to listen.
This is my bread and
great.
butter. These are the calls that I enjoy and enjoy engaging about, especially when it comes to biology and talking about animals and stuff.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I've literally never talked to anybody who believed in Bigfoot until now, and to know that this is like an area that you really care about and are knowledgeable about, I am so glad that you're on here. I would be fairly lost. Although I do enjoy the culture around Bigfoot. I think I have a Sasquatch sticker somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mark. Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go, but you enjoy the rest of your evening and listen to this last caller if you get a chance, because we're going to get into UFOs here.
Already. Okay, you guys have a good night. I got UFO stories and all that too. Paranormal, you name it. I've seen them all.
Awesome.
We look forward to it there, Mark. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Bye.
All right. So, Bigfoot heavy. This has been the most Bigfoot calls we went months and months without any cryptozoology or anything, and I think Ethan must have joined some Bigfoot groups or something and started engaging with some of these fun callers that we've been getting. We appreciate all the hard work Ethan puts in. I just want to take a second just to give Ethan a plug. So our channel's still pretty young, or the show's still pretty young. We still need to go out and engage with these communities to let them know that we're taking these calls so that they can come out here. Ethan spends his weeks engaging with these folks and finding great callers for us to talk to live on our stream with you guys. So thank you so much, Ethan Micheal. All right. And the last caller we have is Ron from Indiana. UFO. It says UFO dragons, little drones flying around Santa Monica, wants to expand on what Dr. Robert said. So good. We have some expansion on the previous call that we had with Dr. Robert, the El Rey Marina?
Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica, that area.
Ron, are you with us?
I am. Thank you all for having me. You all are awesome, and I appreciate, the hard work you guys are doing, and I appreciate Ethan. I just wanted to, if I could, just share with you all, Dr. Robert was being very, very generous. What I'm about to share with you all is very shocking and overwhelming. I listened to Doc's interview with you all, and I heard, when you had mentioned when Doc had said 1,700 miles per hour. Let me explain something to you about these dragons, these UFOs. You can call them drones, dragons. There is no information on Earth more important than custodian fowl. And I don't mean that to knock what anyone else is doing out there, the hard work that people are doing. Well, when you were asking Dr. Robert about, the film, how it's processed, he has to slow this information down. He has to slow the footage down because they are so fast. They are being generous when they're allowing you to see them. I'm going to send Ethan a whole lot of information, stuff that was done like on NBC. There was a hiking accident, and this happened on June the 7th, I believe, in 2019 or 2020. June the 7th, NBC, there was a lady, a hiking couple, and a dragon showed up prior to this lady having an accident. The dragons, they are
not only invisible, but they can make themselves visible. So on this particular day, they made themselves visible for an NBC photographer, and NBC doesn't even know this. And this story made it all the way to Conan O'Brien. So what happened is the lady has an accident. They send in the helicopter to pick her up. Once she's on the gurney, this thing starts spinning out of control. If it were one of us, we would have been dead. This thing was spinning. I mean, it was just crazy how it was spinning as it was lifting her up into the helicopter. Well, the only reason this lady didn't die, and she doesn't even know this, is because the dragons saved her. You know, it put a force field around her so that she wouldn't even feel, you know, the greatness of it. I'm sure she felt some, but not to the extent that it was actually doing. So,
all right,
what's happening in? I'm sorry.
Hold on. We just got. There's
there?
a whole lot to unpack here. Whole lot of stuff that's being brought up that we need to get some clarification on, because we might not be using the same language. What do you mean when you say dragons or UFO dragons?
Well, they look like a dragonfly,
Okay.
but these are small aircraft. These are little drones. Dr. Robert, I don't know, he didn't share with you that we have a 5-minute clip on Discovery Plus with Ozzy Osbourne's son. You can look up Fright Club Phantom Photobomb, episode number 2. Fright Club Phantom Photobomb, episode number 2. And we've got a 5-minute clip on there about UFO dragons, UFO drones. We call them dragons because they look like dragonflies. And, you know, people think that they're insects. No, they're not. These things can go as fast as they want to go. When they are seen, it's because they are being generous and they're allowing you to see them. If you have an iPhone, when Dr. Robert says that you can record these things yourself, it doesn't matter if you're in Marina Del Rey or wherever you are. If anything goes up 100 feet in the air, it gets tagged by a dragon. So if you look at the landscape of the world, I mean, these things are everywhere. So they're like small little cells, basically covering the entire planet. And if anything goes up 100 feet in the air, it gets tagged. So, you know, when you had mentioned this fighter jet, you know, and this is not to take anything away from the people that created this fighter jet, where it was Lockheed or whoever, you know, all of this information, the new technology that comes out is basically old to these dragons. These dragons are millions and millions of years ahead into the future. And you'll understand everything. You won't understand it right now until you actually go and do your research from what Dr. Robert has recorded.
Where can we research this at? So let's because we gotta get to some claims, because I'm really interested in kind of opening this open and having a look at what's inside and seeing what we can validate here. We are running short on time though.
Okay, let me just say this in short. Let me just put this all in a nutshell for you. Dr. Robert Scheid was left basically some car keys. He was left some car keys from this very, very important man. This man he was generous. He helped kids. He was a magician. Okay. And one day, he's no longer alive, but one day I'll have him visit you all, and he'll come in probably like in a big form of light. And I'll send all of this information. We just did a podcast about a month or so ago, and this magician, he appeared in the form of light. And I mean, Dr. Robert is basically the carrier of this light. And I'm in the picture to support Dr. Robert and to show him some things that this light has shown me in regards to these dragons. So my recommendation is watch all of the videos that we have out there. There's even videos that it looks like a person in an astronaut suit flying in front of fighter jets. So it's serious when you talk about. I'm sorry.
I might have seen those images, perhaps with the person in the astronaut suit in front of the fighter jets. I think that does sound very familiar to me. Like I've seen that on some of the different forums and stuff I frequent to look at this type of stuff. So we had. Go ahead, Genevieve.
No, it's fine. I think I just, I'd like a little bit more clarification. So you said, if I understand correctly, that anything that goes 100 feet up in the air gets tagged and sort of, is it like these dragon drone UFO whatevers are sort of like assigned to like anything that goes into that part of, because I'm just interested because I fly a lot for work, and I feel like you would see these when you're up in the sky looking out on the horizon for miles and miles and miles. And if not me, then every single air traffic controller. There's something that I like to think about when it comes to debating conspiracy theories, and it's how many people would have to be in on this hoax for it to be covered up and to truly be a conspiracy. And if you and Dr. Robert can just see these guys, from a balcony, I can only imagine that every single, small time hobby pilot and every pilot working for Delta United, every air traffic controller at every single airport across the world, they would all have to sort of be in on this, it seems like, if they are so abundant and so clear, no matter how fast they are. We would pick that up.
We got
ma'am.
equipment to pick up.
Can I share? Let me just share this with you. This week, I will help you through Ethan to record dragons yourself, and then when you see them, would you believe it? Okay. Well, if you've got an iPhone, you've got an iPhone, you can record these things yourself.
Sure.
Just start filming. Just start filming exactly the way Dr. Robert is filming with his camera. Just take your phone and hold it sideways, and just start filming helicopters in there. Matter of fact, if you're close to an airport or something like that, or a hospital that's got helicopters coming in and out,
I'm right by both of those things. I will say, though, I do want to clarify, I have no problem doing that. I have no problem going 5 minutes down the road to my local small municipal airport. But I do want to say that if I catch something on video, that's not a confirmation of what you are necessarily saying. Like, that's not going to be dragons or like alien technology. There is so much more that needs to be done to confirm that claim. Does that make sense?
Well,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot to get.
No. Well, I'm saying this because I know, and there's other things involved that I really can't say over the phone.
Right. We're just saying that for us,
man does not have anything as fast as a dragon. Let me just first say that, and please make sure that you have that recorded. Ron Anderson is saying this. There is nothing on this earth, not even, excuse me for saying this. And I know how much life has been lost to this COVID. There's nothing more important than these dragons. These dragons are biblical. And I know that you guys may not be into the Bible or whatever, but this stuff is serious.
Actually, I'm really into the Bible.
Me too. You're just getting to this. Oh man, right when we're out of time.
Oh my gosh. We need you to call back, because we're going to talk about how these dragons are biblical with you. It does sound like an interesting route to go. I will say, like Genevieve was saying, if we caught something on the camera by following Ron's instructions, it would be demonstrate that what Ron was catching on the camera was something caught on the camera and that it's able to be duplicated. Now, the next step would be to figure out what it is on the camera. I think it's insects, of course, as I said. You think it's a dragon. So how would we decide which one is more likely?
Well, we're just nicknaming it a dragon because
Oh no, I know.
it
I'm not
looks
trying
like
to
a
be
dragonfly.
dragonflies or whatever, but not the animal dragonflies. You're thinking it's something else. So how would we
Right.
demonstrate
Well,
which one of those is more plausible in this in that circumstances of being caught on camera like that?
Well, if you look at the videos that Dr. Robert has, some of the videos, you've got an insect, you've got a bird, and you've got a chopper and a dragon. You see, so, you know, you will be able to differentiate based on, you have to look at Dr. Roberts' videos. You have to go to Custodian File and study those videos. And then you study in how he's actually shooting, what you see on the screen, the timeline, and then the activity of the dragon. Some of these dragons, like I say, they're flying through the blaze of helicopters. And they're going right up to the cockpit saying, hello, guys, you know, we're tagging you guys. When you see a lot of these major power outages across the world, it's because of these dragons. When you see some of the good things happen in the world where wars are prevented, it's because of these dragons stopping a lot of bad things from happening. When you see a lot of missing kids come up, you know, and they're alive, it's because of these dragons. If, you know, certain things that have to be done on this planet need to get done, it's going to be because of these dragons. Trust and believe. And you haven't even seen the beginning of what these dragons can do. And like I said, there's no, I mean, you would be better off putting all of your time and energy in, you know, your extra time that you have to follow Dr. Robert, follow exactly what he's doing and what he's capturing with his cameras. And like I said, you can capture the same thing. The military, they're not going to give you any information. They're going to deny this. The media out in Los Angeles, they're going to deny it. Everybody's going to say they don't know what's going on. We even have recorded spies trying to record dragons. Yeah,
Well,
it's serious
there's
business.
a whole lot of claims there, Ron. A whole lot of the good things they do, the preventing wars and stuff. There's so much to unpack there. We just don't have the time left in the show. Does sound really interesting. I would love to get into some of the biblical claims and stuff about this. But do call back if we can get you on a little bit earlier so we can, so again, there's a lot to unpack here.
Thank you. You all are great. Thank you so much.
You too. Right, Thank you so much.
You have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, he brings out the good stuff at the end. The Bible. Right? Let's go.
One at a time.
Oh my goodness. Oh well.
Did I say thank you to Secular Rarity for their super chat? Because thank you, Secular Rarity. You are awesome.
And thank you, Ameet Mathew, for your earlier super chat as well.
Oh, I must have missed that one. I'm so sorry. Ameet, I am very sorry. You're awesome too.
Did you guys have fun?
So much fun.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Great show.
Talk about we got a bunch of Bigfoot calls. I was not expecting that many.
Yeah. Oh,
Genevieve attracts the Bigfooters, not me.
Yeah. I'm so happy that I popped my Bigfoot cherry tonight. It's been a treat. Now all I really need to do is a flat earther, and I feel like I've hit a lot of the areas.
You know, I've been trying to get. Oh wait, we did have a flat earther. I'll see if I can get him to call back next time you're on.
Oh my gosh,
I remember him.
Please.
NASA. Talk to him about NASA if he calls back.
Oh gosh. Oh, I bet he's got some strong words about them. It's probably the same as I sound when I talk about Fox News.
Anyways, Genevieve, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so I am on TikTok all the time, but I also have a YouTube call-in show of my own, that GD show. It is Mondays on Dave Warnock's channel at 6 p.m. Central Time. Other than that, I hop around these shows. I fill in guests where I can. I run a nonprofit, and that's super time consuming. So this is my hobby when I find a moment.
Well, I always appreciate you doing the show. Thank you.
Yeah, I always appreciate you inviting me on. It's so fun, Ethan.
BrainBug.
I got my Saturday show, like always, Saturday 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. You like the Bigfoot topics, the UFOs and that kind of stuff. I talk about those kind of claims on my show. So definitely, if that's the kind of subject matter you like, kind of debunking. I also do, of course, young Earth creationism stuff and things like that on that show as well. So if you enjoy those sort of topics, please join me every Saturday morning. Secular Rarity is usually there on the live chat as my cheerleader. So if you like hanging out in the live chat with Secular Rarity,
They're the best.
yeah, do that. Other than that, I have the 30th. I will be on with Almost a Doctor. I don't know if he's Australian. He's a scientist, and we'll be talking about dinosaurs. So if you want to hop over there and indulge in that, that should be some good fun for us.
Well, make sure you send me the link for that one.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank our top tier patrons: Cindy PLAZA, Left Right Left, Ryan Hammond, Kenneth Leonard, Skye, Secular Rarity, Philip Leitch, Richard Gilliver, _Atheism, Ameet, Mathew, and Ray Sylvester. Thank you so much for your patronage. Oh, and don't forget, after the show, we go into Discord for the Discord after show. Genevieve and BrainBug, you're of course invited. Everyone, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oh, and if you want to support the show and become a patron, the link is in the description. These call-in shows do cost money to run. Consider joining for just $1 a month, or hey, share the video. It makes a difference. Thanks, everyone.